Okay, now, you atheists say there's not enough evidence to prove that God exists. I can prove to you right now. First of all, truth by nature is absolute, meaning that it cannot be truth unless it's self-existent and it already exists before you seek it out. Not to mention, truth is the whole basis for why you do anything. In any scientific examination you do with the hope of eventually getting to truth. But truth does not really change based upon your examination. Let me give you an example. If you take the example of when you drop an apple and a basketball from a building, and they land at the same time. Now, did you just create a law with those two balls hitting the ground at the same time, or did that already exist? Oh, okay, you discovered it. So therefore it was absolute because it already existed. Well, then you take the law of aerodynamics. Did the Wright brothers create aerodynamics, or did they just find out that it was already there? Well, you have microscopes, and you find out about, atoms, all this stuff. Did you guys put those atoms there, or did they already exist? They already existed. So, there you have it. Absolutely true, atoms exist. Absolutely true, there's a law of aerodynamics. Now, if he had never found out about aerodynamics had not existed? No. It's a law. But who put the law in place? Now, if you say it was evolution and you give with this whole random stuff, then that means that, okay, it's kind of hard to swallow, but billions of galaxies came out of nothing, right? And then we're just in perfect working order with laws such as what I explained, aerodynamics, and the other law, with gravity, and yeah, all those atoms floating around holding everything together with an unmountable amount of energy in them, just got there by random chance. Now, tell me, how many random occurrences are there in science? Aren't we looking for exact answers in science? I mean, if we're not really looking for exact answers, then what are we looking for? So, what I'm getting at is science by nature is about searching for truth and coming down to a final, not only hypothesis, but evidence that proves that this is the truth. Now, sure, you're going about it by looking at the physical world and using only the physical evidence is given to you. But, there's some things that are obvious that they'll never change in the physical universe. And since these things are here and unchangeable, something or someone has to be holding that together. That's why Einstein talked about the eternal constant. The eternal constant is God, people. It's obvious. Okay. Einstein said that there has to be something always there that put everything in place. Now, if you say there was a Big Bang, let me ask you, is that scientific that a Big Bang just came out of nowhere? Even if the Big Bang came from, let's say, another dimension, what caused the bang? You see, that would still have to be God, because it has to start somewhere. See, You're not even talking about logic here. Logically, everything starts with something. And everything is sustained by something. Nothing comes from nothing. You know, it may appear to come from nothing, but there was still a source. There's always a source to everything. So what you're saying is totally insane to say that everything came from nothing, had no source. It's the most idiotic thing in the world, but that's what evolution is all based upon. Saying everything came from nothing and then just sporadically spaced out into other organisms randomly, which just happen to be able to adapt perfectly to their environments, which just happen to be, you know, they just happen to each time figure out how to change into something else so they could survive in a new environment when the world changed from heat to cold. And you can never explain why that happens, or you know, why they changed from one creature to another. There's no evidence of transitional forms, but we just kind of go with it because all of the scientific people and the, you know, the philosophers, the professors say, oh yeah, yeah, that's what we believe in. These idiotic Christians, they're just stupid. So because they just keep saying stupid and we're stupid, that's called demonizing somebody. That's called propaganda. If you keep repeating something over and over again, people believe it. But how many of you guys actually look at this from a realistic standpoint? Oh no, you don't want to look at it. See, it's not so much about if you can find evidence, it's about if you want to. Do you want to believe that there's a God, that you have to be accountable to God, and that you are on your... Because if you believe that, you have to acknowledge that you're on your way to hell. And worst of all, you don't even care about hell. You don't care about burning forever. Oh no. What you really care about? That you have to admit you're wrong. You have to admit, because this peer pressure thing, we think that's childish. That's done with. But that is what it's all about. This whole world system is based off peer pressure. My friends will look at me bad. Well, what are they going to think about you when you're burning forever? Who's going to get you out of hell? No, they're going to be there right with you. It's not going to be a party. No, demons scratching your eyes out, gnawing your head off, dismembering you, raping you, and pulling out your entrails, throwing you in the fire is not my idea of a party. No. There's no parties in hell, except for the demons dancing on your face. But my friends, you don't have to be in that party at all. You can just accept Jesus. You could just humble yourself. You could just say, hey, you know what? Forget all this atheist garbage, you know. Forget all this, you'll realize in a moment that that's like a second, you know. This whole atheist thing, this whole, people have joined all sorts of revolutions and stuff in history. And before they know it, it was over. Somebody conquered them. Their country was over, and their leader, they found out, was back cowering somewhere. That's exactly what's going to be like on Judgment Day. Your leader, the devil, is going to be the main one cowering before God, bowing down to him, and having to say he's Lord. And where will you be? You're going to have to acknowledge, if all of them are going to bow down, you're going to have to bow down to Jesus yourself. There's no way out of it. You have two choices. You can admit to God now, submit to him, and don't say he's a dictator. No. He made this, this house. If you make a house and you own it, shouldn't the people in the house respect you? It's your house. How are you going to call him the dictator? No, you're the dictator. You're the dictator. You're in God's world trying to usurp the creator with his own creation. You're trying to sit here and tell him what he's going to do with his world and what he's going to do with the time that he gave you. Please. No. Say, I believe Jesus died on the cross for my sins and rose from the dead. Bye. Time is short.